Good evening. If you think Washington is just politics as usual, you need to wake up. Because what happened just days ago at the steps of the Supreme Court isn't just a legal opinion, it is a constitutional detonation that has forced the Senate Majority Leader into a full-blown panic. We're not talking about a minor piece of legislation. We are talking about the Supreme Court effectively making a president a king. And Chuck Schumer knows that if he fails to respond, the entire American system, the one we learned about in grade school, could shatter. The alarm bells are ringing so loud in the Senate right now, Schumer's only answer is a desperate, high-stakes rush vote on a bill he's calling the No Kings Act. This is not normal. This is a 5-alarm constitutional fire, and we're going to break down exactly what that ruling was, why it terrified Schumer, and what that rush vote means for your future. Let's rewind to the moment the nightmare began. The case, Trump v. United States. The question, does a former president have criminal immunity for their official acts? The answer from the conservative 6-3 majority was a resounding and, frankly, terrifying yes. The court said a president has absolute immunity for core duties and presumptive immunity for everything else that falls within the outer perimeter of their official responsibility. Think about that for a second. It means a president could potentially claim they were carrying out an official duty even when, well, let's just use the words of Justice Sonia Sotomayor in her scathing dissent. She wrote that the majority decision makes the president a king above the law. This isn't a partisan shot. It's a fundamental challenge to the system. You have to ask, if a president can order the DOJ to arrest a political rival and claim it was an official act, who stops them? This is the precise question that sent Chuck Schumer into a full-blown panic, immediately forcing the introduction of legislation to correct what he and other Democrats view as a grievous wound to American democracy and the principle that no one is above the law. The reaction from Senate Majority Leader Schumer was instantaneous and visceral, moving beyond a simple press release into a full-blown political counterattack launched from the Senate floor. He didn't view the Supreme Court's ruling, which granted a president broad criminal immunity for official acts, as a singular legal opinion, but rather as an existential invitation for every future president to break the law with impunity. Think about the political chess game here. Schumer is the Senate leader, accustomed to crises, but this constitutional ruling was different, directly threatening to derail key legal accountability measures. He condemned the decision as a sad day for our democracy that undermines the court's credibility, feeling his political survival and the integrity of the Democratic Party's narrative depended on an immediate, forceful response. The panic wasn't just rhetorical, it was highly strategic, born from the knowledge that he had to strike back before the dangerous precedent could cement itself in the legal system. The result of this alarm was the immediate introduction of the No Kings Act, a legislative nuclear option designed to forcefully reassert Congress's power. This bill is a two-pronged counterstrike. First, it explicitly clarifies that no president or vice president is entitled to any form of immunity from criminal prosecution for violations of federal law, unless Congress specifically grants it. Second, and this is the explosive part, the bill attempts to strip the Supreme Court's appellate jurisdiction over any constitutional challenge to the No Kings Act. Schumer is attempting to utilize a little-known provision in the Constitution, the Exceptions Clause, Article 3, Section 2, Clause 2, to essentially tell the court, you rule on this, and we'll take away your ability to hear the appeal. This is an unprecedented political adrenaline shot and the primary driver for a rush vote. Schumer needs to demonstrate that Congress remains the ultimate check on a judiciary he views as politically compromised and radicalized. Let's get real about the consequence of this rush vote. Even with the immediate urgency and high drama surrounding it, the No Kings Act, even if Schumer manages to push it through the Democrat-controlled Senate, faces two near impossible hurdles that make its chance of becoming law negligible. Hurdle number one is the Republican-controlled House of Representatives. This bill is considered political dynamite. It fundamentally undermines a landmark Supreme Court decision that many Republicans celebrated, making its passage through the House highly unlikely. Hurdle number two is a matter of pure constitutionality. If, by some miracle of politics, the bill became law, the Supreme Court would almost certainly immediately strike down the explosive provision that attempts to strip their own appellate jurisdiction. So if it's unlikely to become law, why the panic? Why the rush vote? Because this is now about messaging, engagement, and the soul of the Democratic Party. The No Kings Act isn't primarily legislation, it's a campaign battle cry. Schumer needs to rally his base, secure campaign donations, and unequivocally prove that his party is the only viable check on a judiciary they now view as politically compromised and radicalized. Whether you love Schumer or hate him, this is an undeniable fact. When the Supreme Court drops a decision this explosive and the Senate Majority Leader responds by trying to strip the court's own power, your democracy is in flux. What this means for you is simple. The political fighting will get uglier, the campaign trail will get hotter, and the constitutional stakes are now higher than they've been in a generation. This fight is about who has the final say in America: Congress, the Supreme Court, or a president claiming to be above the law. We want to hear from you. Do you think Schumer's No Kings Act is a necessary defense of democracy, or is he overreaching and trying to politicize the Supreme Court? Drop your take in the comments below and hit that subscribe button to join our next deep dive into the legal fallout.